Your PS5 Pro just got even better. Here are the biggest gaming leaks and news you've probably missed this week.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. Just make sure people know what happened here today.
So here's the deal. Recently, we got a sneak peek at the Nintendo Switch 2's motherboard. Like, someone got a really good look at its guts, and it revealed some pretty interesting stuff. It's got an NVIDIA SoC and 12 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM. The markings on the chip hint that it might be based on NVIDIA's Ampere tech. If you're not into tech jargon, that basically means it could be using some pretty solid, though not cutting-edge, hardware. Before this, there was already some buzz from a leaker saying the Switch 2 might handle 4K at 30 FPS when docked. Now, there's this patent, shout out to Laura Kate Dale for spotting it, that hints Nintendo's planning to use something similar to NVIDIA's DLSS tech in the new handheld. So here's what the patent says. It's about upscaling images using a neural network, which is just a fancy way of saying it can make lower resolution images look sharper and better. For example, it mentions turning a 540p image into 1080p, which coincidentally lines up with how DLSS 2.0 works in its performance mode. It also talks about boosting 720p to 4K, which screams DLSS 2.0 Ultra Performance Mode. To make this happen, they'd use special hardware like NVIDIA's Tensor cores. Here's the catch though. By default, this upscaling feature would stay off when the console runs on battery, probably to save power. It'd kick in when docked or plugged into a power source. But if you're feeling brave or don't care about battery life, you could turn it on manually. There's even a chance Nintendo might include a dedicated button for this, which honestly would be kinda neat. Now, before we get too hyped, let's be real for a sec. Companies file patents for stuff all the time, and not all of it actually makes it to market. But in this case, it feels legit, because let's face it, the Switch 2 will need every trick in the book to get decent performance out of NVIDIA's older chip tech. Plus, upscaling stuff like DLSS, FSR, or whatever isn't new. It's kind of the go-to solution for squeezing more performance out of limited hardware. So yeah, this all tracks. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm just not feeling the hype for the Switch 2. Like, why would I get excited for a device that's basically weaker than a PS4 Pro? I mean, seriously, this is coming out 2 generations behind. Even the original SteamDeck feels like a more attractive option to me. And honestly, I'm way more hyped about the potential SteamDeck 2. If it actually drops this year, let's talk about that for a second. What's the deal with the SteamDeck 2 release date? Well, there's been some chatter thanks to new developments in mobile processors, hinting it might be closer than expected. There's even speculation that Valve could go with a more traditional chip this time, and possibly beat AMD's fancy new mobile processor to market. Now, Valve's clearly not just chilling after the success of the first deck. They just rolled out the SteamDeck OLED and confirmed they're already working on the next-gen Steam Deck. Not shocking, considering how popular the thing is. But the real question is, how much of an upgrade will it actually be? And will it hold its ground against beefier competitors like the ROG Ally or Lenovo Legion Go? So, when's it dropping? If we're guessing, the Steam Deck 2 probably won't launch until 2025 or later. Valve designer Lawrence Yang mentioned in an interview with Bloomberg that a next-gen power upgrade isn't happening for at least 2 or 3 years. That was back in November 2023, when the OLED model launched. That said, there might be another refresh of the original Steam Deck before we get a full-on Gen 2 device. Yang also said they're always thinking about Steam Deck 2, but they're waiting for a big leap in tech before making major upgrades. And honestly, it makes sense. It was already a pain to price at $399 for the base model, and the OLED version starts at $549. So yeah, the Steam Deck 2 is probably gonna cost more. In fact, Valve might lean into the idea of a premium version, which could easily surpass the current $649 ceiling. There's not a ton of solid info on specs yet, but Valve has dropped some hints. They want better battery life and an upgraded screen, maybe even a next-gen OLED like Samsung's QD OLED. A higher resolution or slightly larger display would also be nice. And then there's the AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme chip, set to release early next year. It's supposed to be an improvement over the Z1 Extreme found in devices like the ROG Ally. Whether Valve uses it or sticks with their own custom APU is up in the air, but either way, this chip is something to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's where I'm at. The Switch 2? Meh. The Steam Deck 2? Now that's something worth keeping an eye on. Here's the biggest leak of the week. GTA 6 leak shows new image, but there's a catch. It dates back to 2021 according to the metadata of a video posted with it. This image from a supposed 4-year-old build of GTA 6 features a location not previously seen in leaks. GTA 6 is one of the most eagerly awaited titles details recently, and the community is growing impatient due to the lack of updates from Rockstar Games. The latest news was a release date window suggesting a fall 2025 launch. As fans await more details, this new leaked image has emerged online. In a recent post on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, user Paper1305 re-uploaded an alleged in-game picture of GTA 6, along with a couple of videos from 4 years ago. These were initially posted by another user, but were quickly deleted. The image shows the character Lucia next to a wall with containers in the background. Other videos seem to be from inside Rockstar Games' offices, showing a PlayStation 5 dev kit on a desk, lending more credibility to the leak. While the new GTA 6 image doesn't reveal much, it has sparked a lot of speculation about the location, possibly a shipyard or a military base. It's important to note that this location might have changed since the image is from an old build. Fans also noted that the graphics, such as Lucia's shadow, appear quite advanced. This may not be a massive leak revealing extensive details, but the community's reaction underscores their strong desire to learn more about GTA 6. With doubts about when the next update will arrive following the second trailer's letdown leaks are all that the GTA 6 community can cling to for now. Alright, here's some exciting news for PlayStation fans. Native emulation of PlayStation 3 games on the PS5 could actually become a thing in the future. Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, this possibility is being actively researched and even prototyped right now. So here's the scoop. Developer Implicit Conversions, the studio that's been working on those PlayStation Classics ports for the PS5, has something interesting on its official roadmap. They're looking into creating a PlayStation 3 emulator package for Syrup, the engine behind those PS Classics ports. Now, don't get too hyped just yet. There's a tag on their site that says "dreaming about," which basically means this is still very early days. We're probably years away from seeing this happen. Right now, if you want to play PlayStation 3 Classics on the PS5 through PS Plus Premium, they're only available via cloud gaming. And yeah, that works okay. But let's be honest, it's not the same as running them natively. The thing is, there's almost no doubt that the PS5 hardware can handle PS3 emulation. Get this, last month, someone tested an AMD BC250 mining card. It uses the same silicon as the PS5. And guess what? It ran emulated PS3 games like Gran Turismo 5 Prologue and Little Big Planet without breaking a sweat. They even ran at higher than native resolutions. There were some hiccups, like memory limitations caused by driver issues, but still, it showed that the PS5 is more than capable of pulling this off. So yeah, native PS3 emulation on PS5 might not be here yet, but knowing Sony is at least researching it, that's something to look forward to. Moving on to the best news of the day. Your PS5 Pro just got even better. Here's the scoop. A recent teardown of the PlayStation 5 Pro shows that Sony may have fixed a pretty big design flaw that could make the original PS5 completely unusable. Now, to be fair, this wasn't some widespread problem, but it looks like Sony quietly made sure it won't be an issue for the PS5 Pro. So here's the deal. The PS5's GPU can clock up to a crazy 2.23 gigahertz. To handle all that heat, Sony decided to use liquid metal instead of regular thermal paste. Liquid metal is great at conducting heat to the heatsink, way better than thermal paste. But there's a catch. If that liquid metal leaks out of its enclosure, boom, it shorts the motherboard and bricks your console for good. Back in early 2023, there were reports claiming that if you left your PS5 standing vertically for too long, this could potentially happen. Naturally, people freaked out. Now here's where it gets better. It turns out this problem mostly affected used PS5s that had been opened up and messed with for repairs. Brand new PS5s? Not really a big risk, but Sony wasn't taking any chances. The PS5 Pro has some clever design tweaks to prevent liquid metal leaks. According to a teardown from the YouTube channel How Fix ET, the PS5 Pro's heatsink now has surface ridges. These ridges are designed to spread the liquid metal more evenly over the chip, making it way less likely to pool and cause issues. By comparison, the PS5 Slim's heatsink has a flat surface. So yeah, it's pretty clear Sony put some extra thought into the Pro's design. And that's not all. Before the Pro even launched, we found out it has an easy access bay for the CMOS battery. If that battery ever malfunctions, you can just pop it out and replace it. No fuss. Here's the thing though, most PS5 owners have never even dealt with liquid metal issues. Some people still debate whether it's even a real problem, but Sony's tweaks to the PS5 Pro's heatsink show they're paying attention. They're not waiting for these problems to blow up, they're fixing them ahead of time. It's kind of reassuring, right? Both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are solidly built systems. It's not like the old days of the Xbox 360 and the dreaded red ring of death. Thankfully, it seems like those hardware disaster stories are a thing of the past. All right, let's talk about the future of PlayStation. Hideaki Nishino, Sony Interactive Entertainment's CEO, just shared some insight on the PlayStation 5's life cycle. And here's the big takeaway. The PS5 is going to stick around, even when the next-gen console eventually shows up. So, gamers are already buzzing about the next PlayStation system. But honestly, the PS5 is just starting to hit its stride. A ton of exciting new games are lined up for the next few years. And it feels like we've only scratched the surface of what this console can really do. But of course, the rumor mill is already in full swing. The launch of the PS5 Pro has only added fuel to the fire, with people wondering what the PS6 might bring to the table. He also pointed out that even now, plenty of people are still playing PS4 games, while content for the PS5 continues to grow. It's a clear sign that the PS5 will keep getting support, even when the PS6 eventually drops and starts pushing boundaries. So, when might we see the PlayStation 6? Nishino didn't spill any exact details, but if we follow the timeline of past consoles, it's possible the next system could arrive as early as 2027. That's about the same gap we saw between the PS4 and PS5. But here's where it gets tricky. The Pro models shake things up a bit. The PS4 Pro launched in 2016, 4 years before the PS5, but the PS5 Pro just came out in 2024. That could push the PS6's release to 2028. Still, Nishino made it clear, Sony's not rushing things. When the hardware justifies a new console, that's when gamers will see it. For now, the PS5 is here to stay. So sit tight, enjoy the ride, and let's see what this powerhouse of a console can do. Alright, here's the final story of the day. PlayStation is officially stepping into mobile gaming, and they're not just dipping a toe in. They're planning to use their big-name IPs to create synergy with their console games. What does that mean? Basically, they want to connect the mobile and console experiences, making both feel like part of the same PlayStation universe. For now, Sony is teaming up with external partners to get things rolling. A good example is Destiny Rising, a mobile game developed by NetEase Games. This approach could lead to mobile versions of games in the future, giving PlayStation a stronger foothold in the massive mobile gaming market. Let's talk about why this is a big deal. Mobile gaming isn't just big, it's the biggest. In 2024, gamers spent over $92.5 billion on mobile titles. Yeah, billion. It's no surprise that every major gaming company wants a piece of that pie. Microsoft even dropped $70 billion to buy Activision, largely to boost its mobile presence. Sony, though, is taking a different approach. They're building their mobile games from the ground up. Sure, they've already had some success with Fate Grand Order through their subsidiary Aniplex, but now they're bringing their PlayStation Studios brand into the mix. At first, they're licensing their IPs to external developers. Down the line, we might even see first-party studios creating smartphone games. Herman Holst, CEO of PlayStation Studios Group, talked about this in a recent interview with Famitsu. He used Destiny Rising as an example of how this plan is coming to life. He said, "In mobile games, we want to develop PlayStation IP in a way that maximizes synergy with the console. To that end, we will first focus on collaborations with external development studios." He also mentioned the strategic partnership with NCSoft announced back in November 2023. Then, in October 2024, Destiny Rising was revealed. It's a mobile game based on the Destiny IP developed and published by NetEase Games. So what can we expect in the future? If Destiny Rising is anything to go by, we might see mobile versions of AAA games that complement their console counterparts. It's a smart move. If Sony pulls this off, they could bring something fresh and exciting to mobile gaming while expanding the PlayStation ecosystem even further. Let's see how this one plays out. It's going to be interesting to watch. If you want to be ahead of all the gaming leaks and news, specifically PlayStation news, time for you to subscribe. And as always, a like on the video is very much appreciated.